Geneva is a great place to make a master in biology for different reasons, but the major reason is the history. Geneva has been a place where molecular biology is almost born. So history is important, tradition is important, filiation is important, and people will find in Geneva all kinds of different disciplines related to genetics, related to molecular biology. So I would say it is a very complete panel of disciplines. So it's a place where you can acquire a very diverse education.
For some students, it's just the time they realize that, well, maybe research is not for them, or they are very happy in that. They have to jump into the swimming pool. The water is very cold, some swim very easily, others have difficulties, but after some months they become excellent swimmers, you cannot really see. But anyway, for all of them, it's a very critical transition in their life.
The possibility of doing specialized masters, which we call options, is that you can choose to focus more on one specific area of biology, such as molecular plant science or genetics, development, evolution.
So the master option Biodiversity and Systematics is an international-oriented master aimed at studying different fields of biology linked to biodiversity, like the study of the origin of biodiversity, evolution of biodiversity, processes and functioning of biodiversity, and how to conserve biodiversity. The strength of our master is the cooperation of three institutions in Geneva: University of Geneva, Conservatoire and Botanical Garden of the City of Geneva, and the Museum of Natural History of the City of Geneva.
Here at the museum, we are interested in the organism as a whole. So what we specifically offer at the museum or at the Botanical Garden is the access to the whole organism. We can also study the molecules. We study the evolution at different levels within this organism. We also study molecules, but what is very specific to our formation, to our training, is to study the organism as a whole, or the organism in its environment.
The Master in Molecular Plant Science addresses specifically the topics of plant biology, and this is done with courses, especially one master course, which is really an introduction to modern research in plant biology, but also has a part on the internet connection between academic research and the economic world, and also the agronomical world, research which is more applied, or how to insert into this type of professions.
Within the framework of the orientation bioinformatics and data analysis in biology, the master work is done in a laboratory of the biology section, or in the Swiss Institute of Bioinformatics, or even in other institutions like the Natural Museum History, and sometimes in private companies. The specificity of this orientation consists on analyzing biological data in silico, that is performed on computer, rather than in vitro in a laboratory.
One important feature of the master programs is that a large fraction of the time, about 2/3 of the time, is devoted to a research project in a lab. So they really get immersed into a lab. They benefit from the interactions with other groups, either in plant science or even within biology or life sciences in Geneva.
Entering in the master option Biodiversity and Systematics, we'll have a certain number of mandatory lectures, which are highly specialized, a certain number of optional courses too, and then he will have to perform his research work in a host laboratory. This research work is an integrative work, including field ecological studies, as well as laboratory investigations, working on morphology, genetics, and also using state-of-the-art technologies like the ones used in metagenomics, transcriptomics, and genomics.
Students who start a master in bioinformatics and data analysis in biology can of course pursue with a PhD if they want to make a career in research, but they can also work in a private company. These may be bioengineering companies or companies specialized in ecology, etc.
Students who have been trained in the museum or the botanical garden in our option have a deep understanding on the diversity of life, so they can work in different fields of nature protection, in assessment of biodiversity. They can teach, of course, or they can work on more fundamental questions of the evolution of the organisms or their distribution during the time. We call that biogeography or things like that.
They also have to understand that different types of biological questions can be addressed with these different model systems. So it's very important that they meet regularly, that they follow courses, and that they are exposed to all the different types of research that are developed here in the University of Geneva.